Good morning, everybody. This is Zeb Wellborn with the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. We are very excited today to be talking about the CARES Act Loan Workshop with Christina Gagnier for our regular Business at Breakfast event. We are still conducting business as close to usual as possible. So today we've got our normal Business at Breakfast crew that is here to network and connect with each other. So we're going to kind of run through our normal agenda for our Business at Breakfast. And I felt a little awkward last time to do the Pledge of Allegiance because we didn't have a flag. But maybe we will do the Pledge of Allegiance today since we do have a flag. If everybody can look at Jeff, we can do the Pledge of Allegiance. Jeff, do you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I don't know if we need to stand or not, but I'm going to. And heart over hand and ready to begin. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United
States of America
And to the
republic
for which it
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty
and justice for all.
justice for all.
Very nice. Thank you, sir. Terry, I guess, would you mind leading?
I lip synced.
I'll be very happy to do that. Pray. Lord, we just come before you this morning. We just pray for those people that are struggling with this pandemic, Lord, and we just ask that you just have a quick resolution to this challenge. We also ask, Lord, you continue to guide us and direct us as business owners as to how we can adjust in these new times to continue to conduct our business. Give us a guidance, wisdom, and provide us with resources like we're getting today, Lord, to just help us with our businesses. So we bring those who are still trying to get here this morning. We pray that they figure it all out with Zoom. Show up for the meetings, Lord, and we just thank and praise you for the efforts of the Chamber and ask that you continue to bless our organization. We ask these in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Renee. So now we have a kind of time for public announcements. Do we have anybody that would like to share a public announcement with the group? Okay, Terry, go.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, Vicky's conducting an event that's Wednesday. I think I sent something to you, Zeb. I'm not sure exactly how to let the chamber members know about, but it's a free training event by one of her clients. It's called Do You Neo? It's Need Other Opportunities and How Do You Work From Home? So basically for the next 12 weeks, she'll be doing that program, teaching how to, this new environment, how do you come out of it? And I think one of her taglines is, how do you come out of this thing super prepared in 30 days when everything opens back up? Are you preparing yourself for the explosion and the business opportunities that exist? So you can go to the website, which is Do You Neo. That's do and YOUNEO.com, and you can register for the event. It's a free event, and we did the first one last week. It was phenomenal. So it's going to get really good. Help us to do business better and do business in this environment. Thanks for that.
Awesome, thank you, Terry. Jim asked if you put the info in the chat box.
I have an announcement.
Go ahead, Renee.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Renee Mata from the United States Census Bureau. Just to let you guys all know that thank you for all your participation and partnership in this critical time. As of this evening, Chino has responded at 48.8%, and Chino Hills is at 55.1%. The California national average is 48.8%. So we're halfway there, but we have a halfway more work to do in terms of census response. Just to let you know, for individuals that did not go online and do the census, this week the Census Bureau is mailing out paper questionnaires from the week of April 8th through the 15th, and paper questionnaires will be mailed out as another option to complete the census. But the census is going to be live on 2020census.gov till they have extended that date from July 31st to August 14th. So residents do have up to August 14th to reply online, over the phone, or even by mail. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Anybody else? All right, let's get going into our 30-second commercials. So last week we had some folks that got a little liberal with the 30 seconds. So I just want to try to make sure we keep it within our 30-second commercials because we want to have time for a speaker, and then we also want to have time for to give referrals and recommendations at the end. So with that, let's get started. I'm going to just go in order of how it is on my screen as best as I can. So Terry, you're up first.
Well, hey guys, just want to let you know that my commercialist Legal Shield's really busy, and there's a lot of questions by people. And actually, we have a website which I'll send out to you guys called COVID-19.legalshieldbenefits.com. It's not, you don't have to be a Legal Shield member to participate, but it's advising us on all the different things we have, all the options we have with regards to all the programs that are out there, and just and all the questions. People have a lot of questions about how do I file for unemployment? What benefits am I eligible for? And so all those answers are on that website. And I think I did send it to you yesterday, Zeb. And I don't know how we get it out to people, but it's a free site. There's no advertising, no commercial, no sign-up instructions. It's strictly a public service that Legal Shield is providing, because we're getting literally thousands of calls every day all over the country from our members about how to proceed with situations. So Terry Fitch, Legal Shield Business Solutions, it's not going to happen to me is not a good plan.
Yeah, that will be in the email that's going out later today. So thank you for sending that over. And then also, the one other thing is we are live on Facebook right now. So please, if you have some time, share that out to your audience, or share it to the groups that you're involved in on Facebook, so you get the word out about this presentation as well. Judy, you're up.
Good morning, everyone. Judy Conacher with Shop Chino Valley, and we also are very busy. We're working with any small business, restaurants in particular right now, trying to get the online ordering at a lower cost for them than available elsewhere. And also helping businesses reduce their credit card processing fees. And we have actually cash advances available for businesses also. So Judy Conacher, Shop Chino Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Renee, you're up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Renee Maytef from the United States Census Bureau. Just asking all our business leaders and everyone else to please participate and help our community participate. It helps us get our funding that we ever more need than ever before. It's $675 billion that is distributed annually in federal funds, and helps our country get the representation it needs. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Renee. And one more comment as well. Please introduce yourself in the chat box as well. You know, give links to stuff that you have, your Facebook pages, your websites, anything you want people to check out. This is an opportunity to do that, so feel free to use the chat box. Rose, you're up.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Rose Study with Roses Say, your local florist. And yes, we are open. We do have limited flowers, but we are available. And what we do is we customize flowers just for you by putting your name, face, logo, phrase on fresh flowers. And for now, we're even doing silk. So all your floral needs, say it with the Roses Say.
Thank you, Rose. David.
You're welcome.
Hey there, everyone. David Baer with PFA. I'm also one of the membership directors of the chamber. Just wanted to say I hope everybody is still in good shape. PFA, a little background on the company, started in 1847 and insured over 9 U.S. presidents. We have a program right now that's specific for covering the expenses incurred medically through COVID-19, and of course, a lot of people are rethinking their medical and their life insurance. So, if I can be of service in any way, shape, or form, give me a call. David Baer with BFA, and your membership director, one of your membership directors.
Thank you, David. Jim.
Can you hear me, Zeb?
Yeah, sorry, wrong Jim. Let's go with Jim Gallagher.
Oh, you got to put Jim G or Jim M.
We're going with the bad Jim.
The bad Jim, okay.
Today I'm the bad Jim. So no poem today in the interest of time, but I just want to say Jim Gallagher, Dog Park for Chino Hills nonprofit. We raise money to help animals with medical issues that their adults can't afford, as well as for amenities for the dog park and any other animal advocacy issue. So you can visit us at dogparkforchinohills.com. Thank you.
Thank you,
Go
Jeff.
through all right?
Did great. Jeff, you're up.
Good morning, Chamber. Jeff Baca with Ultimate Source and board member with the Pomona Valley Habitat for Humanity. I just want to thank Christina for doing what she's doing this morning, and to all business owners, please listen to what she has to say with the CARES Act. There are several programs that are out there to help employers keep their employees. So I'm going to keep it short so we can listen to what she has to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Heather.
Good morning, everybody. Heather Nishioka with Chaffey College. Again, I just want to compliment everybody at the Chino Valley Chamber. You have been extraordinarily proactive in bringing us all together in the community. So great job, everyone, and particular you, Zeb. At the college, we are working on getting everybody online. All classes have been moved online, which has been quite a challenge, but things are going well so far. And now our focus is making sure we get our students enough food, short-term housing, things like that. A lot of our students have lost their jobs. So we're going to keep at it and make sure our students in our community have educational opportunities. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. Rachel, you're up.
Good morning, everyone. Rachel Arcega and Lennar Promotions. We are still open. I'm working with a lot of different suppliers. We do have this disposable mask and the KN95. It's not the one with the, but it works. So if you need anything, we're here to help.
Thank you, Rachel. Deanna.
Oh, I'm up already. Hello, good morning. Hey, Deanna, Infusion Zone Laser Tag Family Fun Center. We are closed, physically closed, but we're still open online. So if anybody has a birthday or event coming up in the summer after COVID, or you have a friend, you can still book your, make your reservations for your parties and your events on our website, infusionzone.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Deanna. Ryan.
Hi, everybody. Ryan Neeson from the County of San Bernardino, a business services rep serving Chino and Ontario and parts of the West Valley here. We're still out here working, helping get businesses information they need and getting them ready to take advantage of hiring events and on-the-job training that we'll be having once this all settles down and businesses go back to hiring. I'll leave my information, my email, and I'll be posting links in our Facebook and chat throughout the day.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. Carrie.
Good morning, Chamber. Carrie Voorhees here. I'm an estate planning attorney in Chino. We are open. We are doing, I did 3 EP consults via Zoom yesterday from my home, but we're also in the office 2 to 3 days a week. So we're here and available for you. If you're working from home, now's a good time to make sure you have an estate plan in order and power of attorney. If you already have one, it's a good time to review it and make sure all of your beneficiaries are up to date. So if you need anything, we're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Vivian, are you there? Going once, going twice. All right, good, Jim. Are you ready?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you, Zeb. I appreciate seeing everybody on the call. There's 20 people on here. Awesome. Jim Maloney, Transamerica Financial Advisors. This past week was my 20th anniversary, so now I can see the 21st year. Also this past week, I miss Infusion Zone this year. It was my birthday last week, too. Anyway, I do want to just obviously wish well to everybody, health to everybody. I'm a financial advisor. I'm a branch office supervisor. I am also part owner of the office on the corner of Chino Hills. And like I said, I'm in my 21st year. Transamerica helps people get out of debt, save money, retire early, help their kids go to school. And the last thing I just wanted to mention really quickly is Everybody's worried about the economy and the stock market. The stock market keeps going up and down. I have products that guarantee that people can participate in the stock market, however, not lose anything. We call it protections. And the last thing, life insurance has been, most of my companies have 125 life insurance companies. They are just bombarded with applications right now. I will tell you this, most of them are not testing for the virus. They don't really have a way of doing that. So if you know anybody that needs life insurance right now, I would say in the next couple of weeks. Again, Jim Maloney, Transamerica Financial Advisors. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Next up, we have Chris.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. We are available for you guys all the time, as usual. And just let us know if you have any questions. The city of Chino is working really hard to make sure that all services continue during this time, and that we're here to help and answer any questions you might have. I know that we have a pretty great group of people here, and most of you guys are very astute as to what's going on. But if there is any questions you don't have an answer to or you're unclear, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Alex, and we're happy to facilitate and help you guys along the way. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chris. Rhonda.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to say hello, and I'm with Serpro of Chino Hills. We are still open. We are an essential business doing some, we do fire and water damage, cleanup and restoration, and we are also doing cleaning and fogging for the coronavirus. So if anyone needs, if you know of anyone who needs our services, if your business or place, that you regularly visit has been compromised and need to have some disinfecting done, we're here, and I'll put our information in the comments.
Okay, thank you, Rhonda. And then Gigi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Gigi with Chino Commercial Bank, and I wanted to let everyone know that the branches are all open. We are encouraging everyone, however, to download the app, make mobile deposits, not visit the branches if at all possible, stay at home. Just to give you a little update on the SBA PPP program, we have been inundated with a lot of applications for it, and at this point we still are taking applications, but I was told yesterday that our customers are going to come first, and then we will try to get to everyone who has submitted an application but is not our customer. So hang in there, everybody. We're going to get through this, but we are just swamped.
Well, thank you, Gigi. And let me just give a couple of brief kind of updates here. We have our Facebook Live video, which is happening now. So if you have an opportunity and you're watching this, please feel free to share that. We also have it here, obviously, on our Zoom meeting. This is also an opportunity to ask questions. So if you have any questions for our presenter, she's going to be talking on the CARES Act Loan Workshop. I also want to say that I am Zeb Wellborn, the president of the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. We are here to help support and assist your businesses. I know that it's a very difficult time right now, and honestly, if you have any kind of questions, concerns, needs, feel free to give me a call. You can call my cell, which is 909-973-9089, or email me directly, and we'll try to get taking care of your issues as quickly as possible. I mean, that's what we're here for. So if you're facing a challenge, you're not sure where to go, you're not sure what to do, reach out to us, and we'll help you along that way. So we've been doing that with businesses across the Chino Valley, and are happy to continue doing that for you and your business. With that, I want to introduce our presenter. So Christina Gagnier is with Carlton Fields. She has a wealth of experience in the legal industry. She had her own firm and recently joined that Carlton Fields firm. She's on the school board, Chino Valley Unified School Board. She is a school board member. And she's also a board of director with the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. She has been super helpful in terms of creating new ideas and initiatives to the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. We're working on that CVCC pitch competition, which she and I have been working on together, and she was kind of the Kickstarter that made that thing get started and made it happening. So I want to thank her for doing that, and I want to introduce Christina Gagnier to present today. Christina.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for coming this morning. I'm going to share my screen here just a second. And hopefully everybody can see it. Let me adjust some things here so this is not in the way of the presentation. Well, good morning. My name is Christina Gagnier.
Christina, you went silent there for a second. You went on mute for some reason.
She lost her phone, and it looks like it cut off.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. You're back.
Perfect. Okay, I just want to make sure that the audio is okay. Well, good morning. I'll start over again. My name is Christina Gagnier. I'm a shareholder at Carlton Fields, also with the school board, but my full-time gig is representing clients in a variety of matters. I'm part of my firm's CARES Act task force. We've built out a lot of resources that are free and available on our website related to COVID-19. I'll make sure to share the link later. But today I want to cover the CARES Act. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about who's eligible, what the CARES Act program is going to look like. We're also being made aware, we have an office in DC, that there's likely going to be more funding put into the program. So there was originally almost $400 million put into the Paycheck protection program. There's probably going to be more money put into it. There's a lot of people that have put in applications, but the application window is still open. And so today I just want to walk through what various programs are available under the Act, who's eligible and who's not. I also will speak to some programs that were made available by the state of California, since we have some businesses here in California that, because their business is not legal federally, they can access California resources as well. So I will touch base on those towards the end of the presentation. So a couple things I'm going to cover today. First is going to be the Paycheck Protection Program. It's probably the program that has the most ease of access for businesses. And also, if you follow the program specifically and dot your I's and cross your T's, the loans are likely to be forgiven. And so for small businesses, this is probably the most attractive of the programs if you're seeking to participate in one of these relief programs. I'll also cover briefly the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, as well as programs for mid-sized businesses. And finally, I'll cover the tax relief provisions under the CARES Act. The CARES Act provides a variety of pathways to support businesses, and even if the loan programs are not available, there are some tax relief provisions that might help ease some of the burden of what's going on right now with COVID-19. So what is the Paycheck Protection Program, and who does it apply to? It applies to small businesses, but it also applies to nonprofits, veterans organizations, tribal concerns, any organization that employs less than 500 employees. That's the magic number under this particular program. The loan backdates to February 15th and run through June 30th of 2020. This is important simply because many businesses started to feel the impacts of COVID far before we were feeling the impacts of having to stay at home. The thing that I think is key, and as I've been advising clients and other members of my firm's task force on COVID-19 are advising clients, is that the loans may be eligible to be 100% forgiven. And so one of the things that I want to do a takeaway today is that, if you really do follow what's prescribed under this law, this is a great form of getting assistance for your business. A couple of things is no business is going to be able to receive more than one loan. So if you are considering applying for a loan under the Paycheck Protection Program, you want to make sure that you ask for the maximum amount. There won't be a second opportunity. And I just want to highlight what Gigi said about the number of applications. There are a lot of applications going in. And so should there be a second allotment of funds under another stimulus bill. Being prepared for that is very important, but also not making the assumption that there'll be another opportunity to apply for a loan. It's still unclear under a new stimulus bill what the timeline would be for those funds, but I just wanted to mention that because I think there's an appreciation that although that $400 million seems like a big pot of money, given the amount of small businesses in the U.S., it wasn't enough to support the businesses that need it right now. So you're eligible if you were in operation on February 15th of 2020. You have had employees who were paid salaries and payroll taxes. It also counts if you pay independent 1099 contractors and sole proprietors, independent contractors, and self-employed individuals also have the opportunity to apply for a loan. So it's not just LLCs or S corporations or C corporations. It's also a variety of other proprietors who are running their own businesses. So that doesn't preclude you from putting in a loan application. In terms of who is eligible, and I'm just going to check the chat in case this is applicable to me. Just give me 1 second here. There we go. Got it. So businesses have to submit documentation. So one of the things is if you're preparing to apply for one of these loans, getting your records together before you do so is very important. So, if you do have payroll, getting your payroll processor records together or your payroll tax filings. There aren't any other certifications that need to be made. So unlike other SBA loans, if you've ever applied for one or dealt with the SBA through its various loan programs prior to the CARES Act, there's certain certifications that have to be made, such as you've gone out and tried to procure loans on your own before coming to the program and applying for a loan. That is not the case with these Paycheck protection loans. So you can bring in your payroll records and other things that prove what your business expenses are. But your documents do need to be sufficient to demonstrate a qualifying payroll amount. So anyone who does payroll, if you use a payroll processor, you use Intuit, there's a variety of ways to manage payroll. Just getting those records and providing them, will likely be sufficient. But this is probably a good time prior to applying for these loans. And the loans for independent contractors and sole proprietors, the loan window actually opens on April 10th. So if you fall in that category, this is a good time to get your financial documentation together to prove, what amount you need for the loan. So again, I just want to emphasize, because I've been getting a lot of questions from my clients who are independent contractors. Yes, you are eligible, but you do need to make sure you have documentation that proves you're eligible. So again, make sure that you're ready for that April 10th window. So who's ineligible? So my firm has a cannabis practice. I've been asked pretty often, well, why they mention illegal businesses? Like, why would illegal businesses try to apply for an SBA loan? And this language was really targeted at the cannabis industry. So if your business is in cannabis in some way that touches the plant, this loan program is not available. I believe that's why the state of California, authorized $50 million in loans for businesses, is because they were looking at industries who would not be eligible under the CARES Act. Household employers are not eligible. So if you employ a nanny or a housekeeper or someone, related to what happens at your home, that's not eligible for one of these loans. And also, if a business owner that owns 20% or more of the business is incarcerated on probation or parole, is going to be indicted, has been convicted of a felony in the last 5 years, the business will not be eligible. So if that's sort of the ownership structure of the business, that will preclude the business from being able to get one of these loans. And the other thing that makes a business ineligible is if you were delinquent on a previous SBA loan. So if you've applied for an SBA loan in the past and did not make good on the loan, that will preclude you from getting a loan through the Paycheck protection program. But let's now talk about businesses who are eligible, which is probably a majority of the people here on the call and in the Chino Valley community. So your business is eligible if you have no more than 500 employees. So that can be full-time or part-time employees for your business will be applicable for your headcount. The one thing the SBA will apply, though, if you're not just a standalone business on your own, if you're affiliated with another business, if you're part of a structure that has multiple businesses, the SBA will not just look at your business in terms of employee headcount. It will also look at other businesses it is affiliated with to see if you actually do fall under the 500 employee threshold. And this has been one of the bigger issues for some of our clients who are small to mid-sized businesses, is figuring out if they do have these relationships with other businesses, you know, are they now ineligible under this particular loan program? So I'm going to briefly run through these affiliation rules just in case anybody finds themselves in this position, and then I'll move on to sort of the general applicability of the CARES Act loans. So who counts as an employee? The employee has to have a principal residence in the United States. Independent contractors do not count as employees. The law envisions that independent contractors would apply on their own for loans, and so you cannot count in your payroll headcount an independent contractor. It actually has to be a full-time or part-time employee. But that being said, again, independent contractors on their own, if they're able to produce 1099s and other documentation, they are able to apply for a loan by themselves. Independent contractors, as an aside, also have availability through the unemployment program. So if they did want to make an unemployment claim through the Employment Development Department in California, they could do that as well. How do the affiliation rules work? So if they're going to look at you and a business that you have an affiliation with, they're basically going to see what that relationship is. And there's a couple of ways that the SBA looks at those relationships. I do want to point out that if you are a faith-based organization, the affiliation rules don't apply. So guidance came out a couple of days ago specifically addressing this issue. So if there are any faith-based organizations here in the Chino Valley looking for assistance, they also qualify to apply for loans under this program. So how do the affiliation rules work? If one a business has the power or has the authority to control the other, or a third party or parties controls or has the power to control both. So they're going to look at a relationship and see if one party or the other exercises a degree of control. And if that degree of control is found, they're going to basically calculate the number of employees out of both businesses. So for example, if there's a subsidiary relationship and you're the subsidiary, the main company's number of employees will also be added to whatever number of employees are in the subsidiary. So it's important if you do have a relationship of that nature where some other entity or some other person has a controlling interest or enough of an interest that could be seen as controlling, that your employee headcount is going to be looked at outside of just the confines of your particular business. And I'm happy to answer more pointed questions about that, since I know a lot of businesses have really dynamic relationships these days. It does not matter whether the control is exercised so long as the power to control exists. So if there are contractual relationships that dictate someone has ownership in the company, and even if they're completely hands-off day-to-day and the practicalities are that they're not involved at all, the SBA, will be looking at whether or not they're, again, if there's any power to control. They want to truly make sure that they're supporting businesses who need the support and have under that 500 employee threshold. And I will share this PowerPoint after the presentation as well. So there's affiliation based on ownership. If someone, if there's stock options, securities, or agreements to merge, management affiliation, as well as identity of interest. So again, if you do have a business relationship that could implicate one of these things, I would advise speaking to an attorney before applying through the loan process, simply because you want to make sure that you actually are going to qualify. And if you go through all the steps of getting things ready, you might be disqualified simply because you don't meet the employee threshold because there's too many employees in the broader business relationship. They don't apply though, so these rules do not apply to restaurants, hotels, motels. So a lot of the small businesses that, the CARES Act was envisioned for included restaurants. So it does not count for restaurants. So if you have a relationship, as a restaurant, a chain of restaurants, as many do in this broader area, these affiliation rules are not going to be applied. The CARES Act really does want to support restaurant business owners and make sure they are able to retain their headcount. If you're a franchise and you have a franchisor code from the SBA, again, they'll just look at your particular franchise, your employee headcount, and make determinations. So again, for all of the franchises that are here in the Chino Valley, you're not precluded simply because you're a franchise of a larger restaurant chain. And then any other business that receives financial assistance under the Small Business Act is also, the affiliation rules will not be applied. So I just want to highlight that restaurants, hotels, motels, franchises here in the Chino Valley, all of them are going to be able to apply for these loans and not have larger corporate be counted in that employee headcount. How can you use the loans? So the purpose of this particular program is to keep payroll headcount. They want to make sure that people are not going to be laid off, that they keep their salary, that people are not losing their jobs. And so really the focus of the loans is to keep payroll headcount. You can use the funds to retain workers, maintain payroll. The funds can also be used to pay your lease, your mortgage, or utility payments. So lights on and butts in seats is what I've been telling clients. So I've had all sorts of really creative questions about how these CARES Act loans can be used. But the intent really is to keep people employed and make sure the business can remain open over the next couple of months, which are going to be and have been very challenging for a lot of small businesses. In terms of other allowable uses of the loans, if you have interest payments on other debt obligations that were incurred before the start of the loan period, that's an allowable use of the loan. If you have taken out an economic injury disaster loan, the entire United States right now has been declared a disaster zone due to COVID-19, and that's another loan program I'll talk about in a couple of minutes. But you can make payments on the refinancing of those loans through this program. The only thing you do have to certify is that you're not receiving duplicative funds from another SBA loan. So if you have applied for an SBA loan prior to this or applied for some other SBA loan program and you're receiving funds or will be receiving funds, you can't double dip and then make a similar request under the Paycheck Protection Program. So we have several clients who have, are right now in that process and realize that they're not going to be able to make two loan requests through two different programs available through the SBA. You can't use funds for compensation of more than $100,000 for any employee. You can't use it for taxes imposed under certain chapters of the Internal Revenue Code, and you can't use it for any employee who's located outside of the United States. So that's very important, as now a lot of people are remotely working or have, distributed work environments prior to COVID-19. It's clearly not a hard thing these days to have an employee living, in Europe and working for your company. But that being said, if that employee really does live in Europe and that's their principal place of residence, you cannot count that person in as part of your payroll count and get financial assistance to keep that, head count for your particular payroll. How much can you borrow? So the maximum loan amount is less than $10 million, or an amount that you can calculate from a formula based on the CARES Act. And I'll walk through what those calculations are in a second. That's been a lot of my time these days, is helping clients do math, particularly not usually the suit of a lawyer, but figuring out what those loan requests should be. So, there's a really easy formula to look at. There are clearly always exceptions to the formula, because if it's a government regulation, why wouldn't there be? But I'll walk through a couple examples in a minute just to show you, how simply you could make a calculation and figure out what your loan amount may be. The loan amount is aggregate payroll costs for the last 12 months for, again, employees whose principal place of business is the U.S. So they're going to look at your payroll aggregated over the past 12 months. I know that there have been some businesses who immediately had to lay off and furlough employees, and that has been a major concern. But they're going to look at that aggregate number. So, as you are thinking about making a loan request, it's going to be that aggregate 12-month number. So if you have had to make some adjustments, January, February, March, you're still going to want to look at that aggregate picture over the last 12 months. What qualifies as payroll costs? Just a quick list: compensation to employees, salary, wages, commissions, or other similar compensation, cash tips or the equivalent, payment for vacation, parental, family, medical, or sick leave, allowance for separation or dismissal, payment for employee benefits such as group health care coverage, which includes insurance premium and retirements, and then payment of state and local taxes that are assessed on compensation of employees. So this list covers, what is exactly in the CARES Act. I will send out this presentation afterwards, but as you can see, this really is a diversity of uses, and payroll is really being used as a broad term to make sure that you're able to retain and support your employees as much as you can in the same manner prior to COVID-19. So what qualifies as payroll costs for independent contractors and sole proprietors? I know we have a lot of those in the Chino Valley. Your wages, commissions, income, or net earnings from self-employment or similar compensation. So if you have been a 1099 independent contractor, being able to provide your 1099s, any documentation as someone who's self-employed that, they have had a stream of income over the aggregate 12 months. And then again, they'll look at that 12-month picture to figure out the basis of what your loan application can be. What's excluded? So again, people outside of the U.S. are excluded if they're residents outside of the U.S. Any compensation over $100,000. So if you do have employees who are making over $100,000, it's going to cap at that $100,000. So making employees aware that that is going to be the case should you apply for one of these loans is important. Federal employment taxes that were imposed or withheld between the loan period, including employee and employer shares, those are not covered under this program. The income tax that's required to be withheld from employees is not covered under this program. And then because the CARES Act also, the general stimulus bill also provided for qualified sick and family leave wages, that is being addressed under another provision of the larger stimulus package. So again, a lot of things are included in what can be viewed as payroll costs. There are some exceptions though, and so it's important to, as you're calculating things, be aware of what those exceptions are when you make those calculations. So how is the loan amount calculated? So I tried to create some simple math here just to show how one might apply for a loan and what that amount would look like. So let's say that your annual payroll is $120,000. That would mean your average monthly payroll is $10,000. If you looked at the Department of Treasury guidelines for this act, which are lengthy, the formula they use is to take your average monthly payroll and multiply it by a multiplier of 2.5, which takes us to $25,000. So your loan amount would be $25,000. So
your water heater's okay, honey.
Yeah, okay. I'm listening to the chamber presentation.
So this is one example. What this doesn't account for, though, is if you do have an employee headcount where you have individuals who are making over $100,000, you want to subtract that from your payroll amount. So any amount over $100,000 you're paying those employees, you want to subtract that out before you do this aggregate formula. And again, I'm going to share this presentation, but I thought this was just a really easy way for a business to see how they might calculate what your loan amount would be. And again, here's an example with the $100,000 employees. So if your annual payroll was, $1.5 million, you would subtract the excess amount of $100,000 if you're paying employees over that. And again, you would do the same multiplication factor and get to your maximum loan amount. So again, I think the trick here is going through and making sure that if you have anybody in your head count who makes over $100,000, that you accurately reflect that in the loan amount that you are requesting. What are the loan terms? The interest rate is 1%. The maturity date is 2 years. That being said, we'll talk about the forgiveness guidelines because that's why this program has been so attractive and there's been so many applications because there is a pathway to loan forgiveness. And so this truly is a great support packages for small business if they're able to access it. So your loans will be forgiven. I think this is really important because I've had all sorts of questions about, what if we decide to make a business decision, not an economic decision necessarily based on COVID-19 to eliminate a position. What if we decide naturally because of something seasonal, we're retracting our payroll headcount. So this part I think is very important because I think this is why most businesses are interested in this beyond just the financial support. The loans will be forgiven so long as the proceeds are used in the correct manner. So to cover payroll costs, the mortgage, interest, rent, utility costs over the 8-week period after the loan is made, and employee and compensation levels are maintained. And there is a formula that the SBA is going to be looking at to determine whether or not you have used the loan in the appropriate fashion. So 75% of the forgiven amount must be used in payroll. So the 75-25 split in terms of how the loan you receive can actually be used. So, and you need to retain that ratio throughout the loan's life. So for example, if you were to make your loan application and put in X amount of dollars, let's say $100,000 for example, and that's the loan amount, they are giving you 75% of that to make sure you keep your payroll headcount. The other 25% can be used for other business expenses as described under the statute. But if you decide to get creative and start laying people off so that you can use more of the loan amount on other aspects of your business, if you reduce your headcount, the entirety of the loan will not be forgiven. So it's really important that if you are making these loan applications, that you are doing it to retain employee headcount, because if you don't, you will have a penalty for that, and that part of the loan may not be forgiven. So I've had a lot of questions about people trying to be creative and apply with, their aggregate 12-month payroll, thinking that they might be laying people off or furloughing people or doing a bunch of other things with the loan amount should they be given a loan. It's important that you keep that ratio in mind. These loans are truly being put out to make sure people keep their jobs, not as a means for businesses to apply for them and then not allow people to keep their employment during this crisis. Where can you apply for a loan? So again, I'm going to share this presentation, but I've included a link to the program website on the SBA website. The loan program opened on April 3rd for small businesses, for independent contractors and sole proprietors. It opens on April 10th. They can be made through clearly Chino Commercial Bank or any other existing SBA lender, any FDIC insured institution, or a federally insured credit union. I have heard that some of the larger banks are having issues or putting up some roadblocks. I've had complaints from clients about Bank of America and Wells Fargo. I'm just sort of reporting them as I hear them. I don't know if that's still the case, but a lot of my clients have had much more success getting support from community banks and other local banks that they have previous relationships with. If you do have a prior relationship with a banking institution, just from my experience helping clients over the last couple of days, that's probably the best route to take. I'm not on that end of things, but my clients have been a lot more successful and felt like they're going down this road in a much more prudent manner when they use their existing banking relationships. Again, from what we're hearing going on in DC, my firm does have a DC presence. It is likely there are going to be more funds. It's just, who knows how long that will take given how things work in DC. But, as of right now, there are a lot of applications in. So it's important to make sure you have all your materials together. And then again, if you do have an pre-existing relationship with a lender, visiting that lender and figuring out, how you can get this process going. The next program I'll talk about, and I'll answer questions at the end. I'm going to briefly go through the next two programs. I'm happy to answer more questions about these afterwards, but I wanted to spend the most time on the Paycheck Protection Program because the loans can be forgiven if you follow the rules of the program. So the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program provides small businesses with working capital loans of up to $2 million. Again, the entire U.S. has been declared a disaster zone due to COVID-19. So no matter where you're at, you would be potentially eligible to get one of these loans. A declaration, though, is needed from the SBA to declare eligibility. So this is not like the Paycheck Protection Program where you provide your records and at face value, those records will be evaluated and taken in to determine if you're getting a loan. You do need to receive a declaration from the SBA. Again, all states are disaster zones, but once that SBA declaration is obtained, the SBA will then provide information about the application process. So there is a pre-clearance element of these loans. Once you are sort of pre-cleared in terms of eligibility by the SBA, you'll get more information on how to apply for those loans. And I'm bringing these programs up because there are businesses who have over 500 employees or potentially have other reasons why they need financial assistance right now. Who's eligible? Businesses have to meet the NAICS gross receipts or employee number standards used by the SBA. The interest rate for these loans is 3.75%. The term can be extended for 30 years. And the loan terms are all determined on a case-by-case basis. These loans are not like the Paycheck Protection loans. They are not going to be forgiven, but they are an alternative pathway to at least receive loan assistance and cash flow should a business need it. There's also the mid-sized business loan program under the CARES Act. Not surprisingly, my firm has a lot of clients who have 500 plus employees. And so what happens to those businesses and what avenues do they have for financial relief? Title IV of the CARES Act allowed for low interest loans for mid-sized businesses. Again, those loans will not be forgiven like the PPP loans. But again, they are a means to access capital should a business need infusion of it at this time. The loan criteria for these mid-sized business loans is that the business will maintain at least 90% of its workforce with its full compensation and benefits backdating from February 1st of 2020. They don't want businesses using these loans and will not allow businesses to use these loans to pay dividends or redeem stock. The business has to have been created in the U.S. and have the majority of its employees based in the U.S. So again, all of these programs are really centered on keeping payroll headcount for employees here in the United States. Businesses who get the mid-sized loans can't outsource or offshore jobs for the period of the term of the loan plus 2 years. The business must remain neutral towards things like union organizing. And there's also a compensation cap. I won't get too in the weeds on that because I will share the presentation, but the mid-sized business loans also have a compensation cap. It's a bit larger of a compensation cap than the PPP loans, but it is important that if you do find yourself in a mid-sized business and have employees or executives paid at a certain level, that will impact what you are able to pay those employees. And finally, I'll talk about tax relief. So, I've had clients who we've gone through all the loan programs, might not be a good fit, and they're like, well, what's left on the table? Because I feel like something out of the stimulus package has to help me. And fortunately, yes, the answer is yes, even if you do not want to apply for these loans, can't apply for the loans, there are other avenues of relief available. So there's two types of tax relief that are available under the bill, in addition to some things that have been done here by the Franchise Tax Board to help alleviate some of the immediate tax burdens that businesses traditionally would have been facing in March and April. So the first type of tax relief is for employee retention. So again, no surprise, these reliefs are really aimed at keeping employees employed. And the second one is tax relief for the payment of payroll taxes. So you may be eligible for employee retention tax relief, if part of your operations were either fully or partially suspended due to COVID-19, or if the business gross receipts declined by more than 50% compared to the same quarter in the prior year. So if you find yourself in a situation and can demonstrate that, your operations, a great example would be a restaurant or another business who, your entire business model relies on, in-person interaction, people visiting, your storefront, visiting, whatever activities or opportunities your business has to offer. Clearly, because of the essential business designations under various orders, either state, local, and other means, there are businesses that can't operate. This might be an avenue for you to look at least from a tax relief perspective, in having to make tax payments. The other tax relief program under the CARES Act is for the payment of payroll taxes. And this, again, might be exceedingly helpful. Businesses, may be able to defer their payroll tax payments. So those payments, the employer share Social Security owed for 2020, may be deferred and paid over the next 2 years. So again, another opportunity if, you are short on cash flow, and these programs are not mutually exclusive. So, there's nothing to say that if you were to apply for a loan and get loan assistance, that you also are not able to take advantage of some of these payroll tax and business tax relief programs. So there are a variety of verticals and opportunities to find some relief. I'll touch on California really briefly, and I will circulate around when I send them the presentation. I also drafted with the associate that works for me in our Los Angeles office an overview of California's programs. I know I only have so much time here today, but California has issued $50 million worth of loans through its iBank program. So I'll send information about that. And also State Treasurer Fiona Ma and the Franchise Tax Board, have created a variety of relief pathways for at least the payment of business taxes and some other, refund programs that businesses deal with day to day relating to sales tax. So I will share that information because I do want to make sure that our chamber businesses are aware of what California is doing, what the federal government is doing in terms of tax relief beyond the immediate loan programs. And I will, let me bring up chat really quick. Yeah, I see that there's been a variety of questions, so let me open up the chat box. And yeah, so that's it. And I appreciate everyone's time. Again, I will send out the presentation right after we end this business at breakfast, but I hope this was helpful. I've been working basically around the clock with clients trying to help them access this program. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and either myself or one of my other 10 colleagues who are on our firm's task force to help businesses, would definitely like to be helpful. But I will make sure to send around these materials and a couple other things that I think are just generally useful materials regarding the CARES Act. Our firm also has a really robust labor and employment practice, and my partners have put out some interesting, helpful and interesting information about other employee obligations, that are still existing, and sort of frequently asked questions about what you do with employees during COVID-19, the do's and don'ts, I guess, is a better way to put it. So I will also send those materials to Zeb so that, they'll be useful as well. But I appreciate everyone's time this morning. I apologize, my video is not working. Got a new laptop, and of course, the video is not functioning. But I really appreciate everyone's time, and I hope everyone is healthy and doing well given the circumstances.
Great. Thank you so much, Christina. We can open this up for questions. So I know that as she was going through it, a lot of the questions I saw she answered as she was going through it. Super informative. So thank you for that. Do we, and you can feel free to unmute yourselves and ask questions. Does anybody have a question for Christina?
I have a question.
Shoot.
Hey, Christina, I want to know with regard to the sole proprietors or independent contractors. So both my wife and I are independent contractors. Our business has been hit. Can we apply directly as independent contractors or sole proprietor businesses?
Yes. So the window for those applications is April 10th. So April 3rd, the window for small businesses open, but if you are technically categorized as independent contractor, you receive a 1099, or the sole proprietor, have some way to demonstrate, what your aggregate income has been over the last 12 months, you can apply for these loans as well. But that window doesn't open until April 10th.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Cool. Let me ask you a question. This came on our Facebook Live side of things, and I know you covered it in your presentation, but it says that a lot of people are having issues trying to find a bank that that they can work with that are offering those PPP loans. What is your advice for those businesses that are having a tough time with their regular institution like the Wells Fargo and those other type businesses?
I would approach a community bank, a credit union. We have clients of all sizes who are having that problem. And in fact, last week, we had a flag raised, by a bunch of clients, like Wells Fargo, like what's going on? Because a lot of people, are banking with those larger institutions. I would try to find a smaller bank, and this is probably a good time just generally to have an alternate banking relationship or change your primary banking relationship. But we've had, I've just heard from, and I apologize if anybody represents any of these banks. I'm just sort of saying what I hear from people. I've just heard it's been really impossible, that the banks are just really, the larger banks have been really hesitant or have not been helpful. So if you can find a community focused institution, a credit union, I'm happy to ask my partners, what banks our clients have been using. They might have some ideas what people are using out here in California. So I can circle back with Zeb on that.
Okay, cool. And it sounds like Jeff has an answer for that too. And I know Deanna,
Yeah.
you know something too. Go ahead, Jeff.
Sure. There's a couple of things. A, Christina, thank you very much. B, the SBA Santa Ana office, which it also covers the Inland Empire, they do 2 daily webinars. If you make your way to their website, which is sba.gov/ca/Santa, they do 2 daily webinars, and they do list banks that are open to non-existing customers. So it's a very good resource. And then also, I wanted to throw in and ask you, Christina, I heard that the amount that is forgiven will not be subject to federal income tax, unlike other loans that are forgiven.
Yes, I believe that is correct. I will double check. I'm gonna do a very lawyerly thing right now. We all just got the Treasury guidelines in the last week, and so as a lawyer, I never want to not do my homework and verify my answer. So I will do my homework and verify that answer.
No problem. I'm almost positive, but thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Deanna.
Hi, you guys. I've been watching this very closely, and Christina, great presentation. Thank you very much. The large banks and the community banks, they are prioritizing existing relationships. I did find Lendio, that's Lendio. They kind of serve as a broker. I have no affiliation with them, but they kind of serve as a broker. So if anyone's looking for trying to do the PPP application, check out Lendio website, and they'll match you up with someone that is taking new relationships.
Awesome. Thank you, Deanna. Okay, I guess, does anybody else have any other questions before we move on to the...
Zeb, I got one more question.
Okay.
So Christina, if you're planning on gearing up your business, hiring employees, you don't have any previous payroll, are those programs available for that program as well, as far as bringing on new people and receiving some reimbursement for that, or is it just based on existing payrolls?
They're going to look at your aggregate 12 months. So the program's intention is really to keep existing headcounts. One of the things that's slightly ambiguous right now is if you need to hire new employees. The other thing that has been criticized, and I don't necessarily disagree, but there was, this is public, but also just from our restaurant clients, there's a lot of concern because restaurants, given the nature of their business, retracted very immediately. They had to. And now these loans are available, and they're like, well, great, we'd love to, bring everybody back that we told, our doors are closed for right now. And so one of the critiques has been, how does this apply to restaurants who, had to retract headcount? And so that's one of the things that we're trying to, help our clients work through right now. So, that's another thing. I can bounce that off some of my partners. The guidance is coming out kind of rapid fire. So we literally get guidance from the Department of Treasury and scour through it and try to figure out, the answers to those types of questions. But I will bounce that off of one of my colleagues. That's one of the things that, is not necessarily 100% clear right now.
Thank you.
Perfect.
And I see some questions in the chat that have been sent to me privately. Some of you, I have your email, so I will shoot you a response via email, and I'll try to jump in here right now and also quickly answer those questions. Also, I forgot, I was remiss. In all my presentations, I have to say I am a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer yet, so all the information I provided is just educational.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Christina. We have 10 minutes left, and normally what we do at the end is we give an opportunity to give kudos or recommendations to other folks that are here joining with us. Before we do that, I'm trying to give homework assignments to our folks that are listening in on webinars. So the homework assignment 2 weeks ago was to give a LinkedIn recommendation to somebody that you met through the chamber. Last week, it was to go on to Yelp and leave a rating and reviews on Yelp. This week, I'd like you to ask you to go to that person's Facebook page. If they have a business page, leave a ratings and review on their Facebook business page. Everybody got the assignment? Are we going to do it? Okay, with that, we're going to open it up to kudos or giving recommendations of somebody you've done business with in the Chino Valley. Anybody want to go first?
Jim, I just first want to thank everybody for being a part of this. It's great that we're staying together as a community. And thank you, Christina. That was a great presentation.
Agreed.
I
Anybody
think Heather
else?
was raising her hand.
I was.
Okay.
I want to give kudos to Donna in the chamber office. I really appreciated her calling us and doing the survey that the Chino Valley Chamber conducted and following the businesses that are open for to-go, how we can support them. I think a lot of us are looking for ways to connect with the community, and I thought that was outstanding. So good job, Donna.
Awesome, good. And just so you know, we've tried to have all our staff while they're working from home is to call all of our members, check in on them, see how they're doing, see if there's anything that we can do to assist. We have that survey. We're also letting them know of the resources that are available through the chamber. Thank you, Heather. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Jim?
I just have one more. Happy birthday, Robert Seha.
Oh, there we go. Happy birthday, Robert.
And Zeb, can I ask Christina one more quick question?
Yeah, please.
Christina, if you've applied for if you're applying for this PPP, are you saying that you cannot apply for any other tax relief under this program? It's got to be, you got to make a decision on which one you want.
No. So if you have applied for an SBA loan, so if you're in the pipeline right now or have already received a loan from the SBA, due to COVID-19, you then can't also apply for a PPP loan. They want to avoid people sort of double dipping out of SBA programs. So that's really the preclusion. Otherwise, if you have thought, even, taking out your own loan from another institution and apply for one of these loans, that's not going to preclude you from getting one of these loans.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, and then just a question on my end with that also. So let's say you did have a business, you did lay off folks right away because you knew that there was an issue or because you knew that you were going to be working from home. Is there any kind of recourse for those businesses?
I'm going to double check the regulations and talk to one of my partners. I also will ask someone in my labor and employment team. Our teams are working very closely together because there's, all sorts of issues percolating around employees. I have a couple questions that I've taken out of the chat, and I will go ahead, Deb, and email you answers. So I saw a question about faith-based organizations. Yes, those organizations can apply under the PPP, so they have the same eligibility requirements. So they can go ahead. Any nonprofits can apply. So I think one of the misnomers, so I'm even working with the Girl Scouts, not the larger national organization, one of the local organizations in another state. The Girl Scouts are looking for relief. So, if you're a nonprofit or a small business, a tribal concern, veterans organizations, all of them are eligible to make or to put in applications for these loans.
Cool. Anybody else? I can't see people raising their hands, so if anybody else has some kind of kudos.
Deanna's got a question, but she's not unmuting herself.
Okay, Deanna.
I just wanted to clarify, Christine, if related to Terry Fitch's question, my understanding was you cannot have two relief programs. So you cannot apply both for the PPP as well as the EIDL. So it's one or the other. So you cannot have both programs.
It's relief of one or the other. So you cannot have just received one loan. Well, clearly you haven't received a PPP loan, but you can have just received one loan and then go back and ask for funds for basically the exact same thing. So that was a preclusion under the act because there are organizations that immediately applied for other SBA loans and relief. And the SBA wants to make sure that it's not giving one business two sets of loans at this point in time.
Perfect. Okay, well, I think that's kind of ends our meeting. Let me give you some brief chamber updates about what's happening with the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. Every Tuesday, we're having a webinar with our Chino Valley leaders. I know next Tuesday we have Steve Eli, a board member for the Inland Empire Utilities Agency. He's going to be talking about the issues presented with water. We're also going to have somebody from the U.S. Chamber. They're confirmed, so they're going to talk about, just giving an update on the new things that are happening between now, which Christina gave a great presentation, until Tuesday of next week. So I'm sure they'll have a lot more new information that is coming out about these programs. We're also going to have somebody, I think we're also going to have somebody from the SBA as well, coming onto that presentation. So that'll be next Tuesday from 8:30 to 9:30. Encourage you to attend those. Next week on Wednesday, we'll have another Business at Breakfast presentation, 7:45 to 9. We also have on our website, just to help you guys out, we've put together a COVID-19 resource page, which has links to all of the information that Christina has presented to us, to the organizations that are providing those services. And based on her presentation, we'll add more links in there today. So I update that once every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So today I'll be updating that list again today with the new resources and a lot of the comments that you guys have shared with those businesses who are offering those loans. I'll make sure those are included. We've also put together a restaurant guide for restaurants that are offering takeout and delivery services in the Chino Valley. So one of the things that, I don't know if it bothers me is the right word, but every day I go onto our Chino Hills Connections, our Chino Connection, there's somebody that posts, hey, I want to support local business. How can I support local business? And then everybody chimes in with all of these individual answers about those businesses. And I'm like, here's a resource. You just take a look at all of these restaurants that are offering. So I hope that when you guys see those posts or people saying, hey, I really want to support local business, I'm hoping that you take that as an opportunity to share the resource guide that we presented with them. And I know that some of you have, so I really want to appreciate you for taking the time to do that, making sure that our community knows that these restaurants are doing it. And the value of sharing it from the chamber is that we're highlighting our chamber members, we're highlighting the businesses, and therefore it's going to benefit all of us from that perspective. So I hope you do that. We also put together a guide of businesses that are still in operation. So that page is still available. It's available for any businesses that is still in operation. So if your name's not on any of those lists, or you see a restaurant, or you know of a restaurant that is still offering takeout, shoot me an email, and I will make sure we update those pages. And I update those daily. So at the end of each day, by 5 o'clock or so, all of those pages should be up to date with information that I'm getting from our community saying here are the businesses that are open. So I want to thank you guys for your support, for coming in here and doing this and staying involved with us. If there is anything that you need, don't hesitate to reach out to us, because we can connect you with those who know the answers. If I don't know it, I will make sure that I connect you with those people that do, so that we're all better, bigger, better, and stronger for being a part of the chamber. So I want to thank you guys for doing that. And I want to encourage you all to have a great day. You can stay. You're welcome to stay on here and interact and engage with each other beyond the time that's going. But for all intents and purposes, our meeting is over. Although I think I had one more comment from Christina. Christina, was that you?
Nope.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. Feel free to stick around and mingle and communicate. You can use the chat box, or you can chat with each other through here. And meeting is adjourned. So thank you.